This is making me absolutely crazy. The Israeli government official charged with soliciting 15-year-old girl in Las Vegas. Nick Fuentes, he's onto something with AIPAC, specifically AIPAC in Israel, infiltrating our government. This is a direct result. This is a direct result, and nobody's going to take accountability. You're going to send his ass back? That's what you're going to do? They're going to send him back because guess what? They just take their own, or they just take whoever that does this type of stuff.
It's a system. So you could say, well, this is one bad apple. Okay, one Israeli official was here and he tried to some American kids. But the good thing is our justice system works and we got him. Wait, not so fast. The Israeli-born prosecutor overseeing the case probably let him go. I mean, that's what it looks like.
Smash that like and that subscribe button for your boy.
Now, if he's a bad apple, why didn't she throw the book at him? I guess she's a bad apple too. Or better yet, maybe the Jews don't see it this way. Maybe the Jews will protect each other whether they're good or bad. If they're protecting each other, if they're looking out for each other, if their primary loyalty is to each other and not to America, that's a problem. That's a system. That's a network. And how cucked is it that Jews will protect their liberals, their rapists, blacks will protect their murderers, their drug dealers, but whites, we won't even protect our liberals. Whites are going to attack our own kind, and worse, we're going to let Jews talk about whites like that. Stephen Miller says stupid white hippies, and white people say, ha, good one, dude. Good one.
And this is a clear example of the entire lobby being completely overrun, overtaken by one demographic or one large group of people that is the same ideology. And it's not healthy for our court system. It's not healthy for our legal system. It's not healthy for our political system. And why is it that Israel is the only one that is allowed to have AIPAC? What if we had China PAC? What if we had Russia PAC? What if we had Ukrainian PAC? What if we had all these PACs all of a sudden coming and giving money and saying, hey, we'll give you this and we'll give you that. We'll give you this much money if you say this, so it'll push our agenda for our country. No. This is unacceptable. Absolutely not. It's time to make a change. That's why people are listening to Nick. That's why he's got such a large floor now. Anybody talking about Rumble? No. They're talking about Nick Fuentes. They don't care where he's at now. Now they found him. Now the limelight is on him. Watch out. Kid's on a run.
It was a sting operation. Federal law enforcement, local law enforcement, they were posing as underage children and soliciting sex from adults so that they can be arrested. I'm sure you've all seen this before. They call them pedophile hunters. Sometimes it's live streamers. Sometimes it's law enforcement. And that by itself is not shocking. There are sex criminals all over. And yes, there are American sex criminals. There are Israeli sex criminals. You might look at this story and say, that looks pretty bad. That is a Jewish Israeli who is trying to lure children under the age of 16 for sex in America. You might say that's pretty bad, but you would also say punish that person. That person's crimes are his own. But this is where the story gets interesting. This is Ernie, 1 out of 93 in the United States, acting directly under Pam Bondi, is an Israeli-born Jew. Now, let's think about the details of the case. This guy is an Israeli national security official at an FBI cybersecurity convention. This security official gets caught up in an FBI sting, a federal law enforcement sting. The FBI, run by Kash Patel, is operated by the DOJ, which is run by Pam Bondi. So this is a cybersecurity official who probably has some professional relationship with American intelligence and law enforcement. After all, that's why he was here. It's an Israeli security official at an American security conference. So this guy must have allies in the U.S. government. Who would his allies be? They would be the Zionists. He works under Netanyahu. He's friends with Netanyahu. Netanyahu is his patron. And if he's at a cybersecurity convention in America as our closest ally, then this guy probably has friends in U.S. intelligence, U.S. law enforcement. And who would those people be? Well, they would be the most pro-Israel people. It would be the Pam Bondis. It would be the Kash Patels. It would be, in a word, the Republicans. Because Donald Trump himself appointed Pam Bondi. Donald Trump appointed Kash Patel. Donald Trump appointed Sigal Chaudhry, the U.S. attorney born in Israel, as the acting U.S. attorney in Nevada, and reappointed her after her temporary appointment expired, after the 120-day allotment was up. Now, given that this guy was at an FBI convention, he got stung by the FBI. If you read the actual paperwork about this case, it says that what he immediately told the FBI when he was arrested is, call the embassy. So he gets arrested by the FBI, the pro-Israel FBI, and the first thing he says is, I'm an Israeli government official, call the embassy. Now, Kash Patel denies that they had contact with the Israeli government, but the paperwork says he told them he was with the Israeli government. He told them, contact the embassy. He posts his bail money. Somehow, the FBI doesn't take his passport. This was a joint operation, not just Las Vegas police, as the U.S. attorney says. The FBI was involved too. They did not take his passport. That allows him to jump on a plane and go home, where he will never be extradited. And now all these people say, oh, get him back here. Whose fault was...
How is that? How is it? If somebody in the United States were to have done that, or anybody else, forget about that. Think about someone coming into this country, a foreign agent of all things, coming into this country, going to Vegas, and what, the first thing you're going to do is go to find somebody to, a kid? What kind of sick bastard are you? This is outrageous, man. And the fact that we are going to just let him go, huh? Just going to let him go back to Israel. That's fine. I got to get back. The guy panicked. I got to get back to my flight. I got to book my arrangements. This is outrageous, man.
This? It's your fault. The FBI arrested him. Federal law enforcement arrested him. Now, what does this say about our country? Because a lot of people might say, oh, well, this is just one guy. This is what you hear all the time, isn't it? When you point out that a powerful Jewish person is in favor of open borders, when you point out that a powerful Jewish person is in favor of bombing Iran, when you point out that a powerful Jewish person is raping a bunch of Hollywood starlets like Harvey Weinstein, or does something like this, what do they always say? They say, well, those are just individuals. They say, and every group of people has bad individuals. Americans has bad apples. Israel has bad apples. The Jews have bad apples. And you can't blame the whole group. You have to judge people by their individual actions. But what you see here is a system. Don't you understand? It's a system. How did this guy get away? Because the Jews have their people in our system. This guy was born, well, this guy's an Israeli government official in America. And the law enforcement official, the prosecutor overseeing his case, she was also born in Israel. So she's looking out for him.
Saying something.
She's looking out for him.
To connect yet?
My fellow Israeli, my fellow Jew. No other country is like this. If an American were in Israel, being their kids, could he count on an American-born Catholic serving in Israel's national judiciary, their national law enforcement? Of course not. If you as an American went in China and you were raping kids there, could you count on an American-born white Catholic prosecutor to let you go back to America? No. Because no other people is like this. Like what? The Jews have numbers and influence and power in many countries, almost all countries. In Argentina, where they have a Jewish president. In Mexico, where they have a Jewish president. In America, where they have Israeli officials everywhere.
I've heard whispers that in 2019, Donald Trump has converted to Judaism. And the biggest, smoke of all of this is that Ivanka Trump, raised as a Presbyterian, just like Trump, by the way, Donald Trump, converted to Judaism in July of 2009. Come on, Dad, join me. Join God's people. Joins God's people, Dad. So Jared Kushner and her had a Jewish ceremony. You can see it right here. It's on Wikipedia, a popular prayer site shortly after Donald Trump's election victory. Look, he's there with a yarmulke on. He's got a yarmulke on, you guys. Is that normal? Do you have to wear a yarmulke to go there? Is that showing respect? If you're not Jewish, let me know in the comments down below. If you're not Jewish and you wear a yarmulke and you're in Israel, is that kind of like for a woman wearing a hijab in Iran?
In France, where they have the biggest Jewish population in Europe, in the UK, in Germany, in Italy, in Russia, in all these countries, they have lots of people, lots of numbers with influence. And unlike any other people, they're then loyal to their own kind and to Israel. It's a system. So you could say, well, this is one bad apple. Okay, one Israeli official was here and he tried to some American kids. The Israeli-born prosecutor overseeing the case probably let him go. I mean, that's what it looks like. Maybe the Jews will protect each other, whether they're good or bad. You ever thought of that? I don't know this Sigel Chada, the U.S. attorney. She probably thinks this guy's disgusting, like any of us would. But she's going to look out for him anyway. Why? Because he's Jewish. Because he's Israeli. She's Israeli. That's called loyalty. You know what loyalty means? It means even though he's a piece of shit, even though he's a pervert, she's still going to stick by him. She's going to protect him. She's going to make sure he gets home safe. Why? Because he is her kin.
So that does lead the question, are we as Americans and are white people so segregated, not only mentally and emotionally, by the divide that was driven into white people from up above by basically making us, Nick Fuentes, actually, I'll credit him to this. He said that even white people, when their kids are 18, they're forcing them out of the house. They don't want to help them out, make them get a job and go to school full-time, doing both. Hispanic cultures don't do that. Black cultures that I know of don't do that. Indian cultures, Muslim, no cultures do that. Jewish. Why is it that we push out and say, go and be on your own? Or if you give money instead of to your poor child that maybe is, had drug issues in the past, you're giving millions and donating millions to charity when you have a drug addicted son on the streets of LA. But they pat you on the back because you're not enabling him. What happened to looking out for our own? That's the issue here. Let me know in the comment box down below. Hit that like and subscribe button for more. I'll see you in the next one. It's your boy Danks. I'm out. Peace.
Call me Danks on lock. Yeah.